So, welcome back once again. Now, we shall talk about the hiring funnel for the technology or the IT and AI related job interviews. You remember in the previous section when we were talking about the interview process for the administrative or the leadership roles, then we said this is the process basically the written test, group discussion, followed by several stages of the interview. But the technology companies or the IT companies, they don't follow the exact this process. What they follow is something called as a hiring funnel. Now, what is this hiring funnel? It is something similar to that, but what exactly it is, let us see that. So a hiring funnel is, something like this. The first stage is the application stage. Hundreds or thousands of students or, the candidates may submit their application. And the second stage is the resume screening by an application tracking system plus a human being from the HR department. But first it is the application tracking system, which is a machine basically. And then comes the HR phone screening. They may give you a telephone call for certain things. Then comes the technical round one, where they will test your coding and other skills, whatever skills you may have, they'll be tested in the first round of the interview. Then the second round of interview is by a panel. There, a couple of engineers or senior engineers, they will test you for your skills. And then, if you have some years of experience, then you may be subjected to this stage, the systems design. It is for experienced people. But if you are a fresher, if you have just come out of the college, or if you don't have adequate experience, then the systems design stage may not be there for you. Then comes the managerial round. Here, the managers will interview basically your behavioral and other things whatever we discussed for the administrative and leadership roles, something similar to that. And then comes the HR or the final fitment stage. Here they will decide whether you are the right fit for them or not. And then once they find out that okay, you are a fit for them, then comes the final stage, the offer stage. They will give you an offer, they will negotiate the salary with you, and that is it. All right. Some companies, they may combine a couple of steps. If the candidates are not large in number, they may combine some steps. Or certain companies may add a couple of more steps. But ultimately, the shape of the funnel will remain something like this. Alright, let us try and understand the first two stages in this lesson. Subsequent, we'll see other stages. Alright. So basically an application tracking system, it is a digital system. It is used basically to collect your resumes. Thousands of resumes will come. They'll be scanned for the keywords. Job description will be matched. And those who match will be shortlisted. Those who do not match the job description, they will be automatically rejected. So ATS is basically the first gate which opens and your resume must pass through it before it ever sees a human being. All right, the machine is checking it at this stage. Now, how exactly does the ATS work? See, when you submit your application online or your resume online, ATS will perform these steps. The first step is it will scan your resume text and it will read it like a machine, not a human being. And then it will look for the required keywords. All right, if the job description has got some keywords like Python, Django, Flask, whatever, so these keywords will be searched by that ATS system. And if those keywords are missing, then your resume may get rejected. And if it is approved or if it is selected or shortlisted, then that ATS will assign a score to your resume, like 60% matching, 70% matching or more, whatever. All right. And the shortlisted resumes are then put up to a human being in the HR department for further screening. Let us see an example of an ATS in action. All right, let us say that the job description given is like this: looking for React developer with experience in JavaScript, Redux, whatever. All right. So let us say one candidate, he has mentioned in his resume like this: bullet points, React, JavaScript, Redux, Git, REST, whatever. So the ATS sees and matches it. It's a 92% matching. So application is shortlisted. Another candidate B, instead of writing in this form, he says built UI using component based libraries, worked on client side rendering, familiar with stage management. Now all this English ATS will not be able to understand. So what ATS does, it will give it a low score, 45%, because the keywords are not there and the application or the resume gets rejected. It may so happen that candidate B is more qualified and more skilled than candidate A, but just too bad, because ATS cannot evaluate your skills. It is just looking for the keywords, the first stage. Alright, so therefore, it is very essential that your resume optimization is done. Otherwise, it will get rejected. Your resume has to be optimized depending upon what is expected by the ATS. Now, what kind of resume will pass the ATS? If you have to pass through the ATS, what the ATS is looking for? It is looking for simple formatting, standard fonts, and there should be the keywords should be there, relevant keywords, all right? And then it should match the job description and must have clear headers like skills, experience, projects, certifications, education. Don't jumble up the things and use bullet points, not paragraphs. All right, and then do not use images or graphics because the ATS may not recognize the images or graphics. So if you are following these things, your resume will get through the ATS. All right, and now what kind of resumes are blocked or get rejected by the ATS? See, if you are using too much of formatting, if you are using tables, text boxes, columns, fancy fonts, if you are using images and logos and icons, or some keywords are missing, or if there are scanned images, then such a resume may get rejected by the ATS. ATS is basically fond of simple text-based resumes. Got the point? Now, the question comes, how to beat the ATS or how to get through the ATS, application tracking system. I'll give you some practical tips. First of all, whatever job description is given, from there you copy the keywords. Just copy and paste it in your resume, provided you have those skills, not just for the sake of mentioning there. If you have the skills, just copy and paste them so that there are no errors and the matching will be perfect. All right, and then use a simple format, avoid tables, images, unusual fonts, avoid these things, and then use standard sections. As I've told you, experience, skills, project, education, all that. Use standard things and then save the whole thing as either a PDF or a document, text based documents. Avoid scanned images, as I said. And then when you are mentioning your achievements in your application or the resume, you have to quantify. It should be in terms of figures or percentage. Just writing improved API performance as your achievement makes no sense. You have to give by what percentage. Improved API performance by 30% or 20% or 40%, whatever. That makes sense. All right. And then use standard phrases, standard terms you have to use like REST API, microservices, Kubernetes. If you use something which is not standard or if you misspell them, then the ATS may not recognize that. Got the point? So ATS is basically your first interview step, or as I said, it is the gate which opens for you and then you enter the interview stages. It is an automated system, machine reading only, and that machine decides whether your resume is worth a human being's time or not. If it is worth a human being's time, then it will be sent to the next stage, to the HR personnel, where any human being will have a look at it. All right. So to get an interview call, of course you need skills. That is okay, but having the skills is not enough. You also need to have an ATS optimized resume. So that is very important. All right. So we'll see the remaining portion of the funnel in the subsequent lessons. All right.